General Manager of Egelabra. It's a 55,000 hectare enterprise consisting of stud merinos. Egelabra, or H.E. Cater and Son, and their group of properties are in the central west of New South Wales on the Macquarie River. So we join about 5,000 ewes to the stud, and then the next 5,000 on Egelabra, Weena and Yangonville are commercially joined. And then cropping, we do most of the cropping on Egelabra. We're putting about 5,000 or 6,000 acres of wheat in a year and 4,000 or 5,000 acres of barley, which is drought proofing the operation. Barley's sort of the key to drought proofing ourselves. And then we also have irrigated pastures and things on the inside country of Egelabra there. So that's the main enterprise. You know, I think the land has had influential droughts. It's really vital that you're preempting the droughts rather than chasing your tail. The biggest mindset shift is the storage of our grain. There's nothing more demoralising when cash flow is low and you've got to buy grain in. It's not a good feeling. Some people can't produce grain, so they've got to try and build storage and store it when prices are lower, when they're having a good season, which is not natural to do, but that's if you're not growing it. So 17, 18, 19 was the start of storing a lot more grain above the ground. By the end of it, we'd built a grain shed that would handle 3,500 tonne of barley. This shed's a game changer for what we do now. When we first built this shed, it was $130 a tonne to build it, and we worked, on a wheat value there, so it's about 4,500 tonne to 5,000 tonne of wheat. We store a full load of barley here, like one of these sheds is geared for our livestock. So knowing that can drought-proof us for at least a year and a half without a drop, with a certain amount of destocking. And the bonus with this, then it becomes a marketing tool. So then it's sort of double dipping. You're clearing this out because we're not needing it on farm. So in 21 and 20, we were able to market this shed. They were big years. This last year, this has got just a little bit leftover barley from the 22 crop. So that's kept us going all year round, and we've been able to fill another shed since. Game changer as in being able to know that you've got that much barley there and all your sheep and all your breeding ewes are right. And then, the rains come and the average years and the better than average years come, it becomes a marketing tool. Then the barley goes on to someone else and then we refill it again. And that just makes management so much easier. So 17, 18, 19 was the start of storing a lot more grain above the ground. And then we learnt the process of confinement feeding. And confinement feeding is all about moving your sheep off your natural pastures into confinement. In the dry period, you're doing less travel, less cost going out. You can feed 8,000 or 9,000 sheep in an hour in the morning. In drought, you're making the decision between feeders or mixing your feed. The front row here is just conveyor belting. The whole fence and the trough itself was about $25 a metre back in 18, 19. On the inside of the confinement, we have a Clip-X fence. So the bottom wire, you can just adjust to the comparison of the ewe size or the animal size, because that way the lamb can lean out. It can get nice reach into the pen. We're not going inside any pens, or going into the laneway. The sheep will go down the centre, go either way, and we feed our mixed age ewes. In this situation here, 8 pens, 100 by 100, and a lot of small paddocks around here designed with good waters for older sheep. So young sheep in the confinement. Building an infrastructure like this when grain prices are low and the sheep's prices are, back up again, which was a cycle, going into the drought, there's the opportunity to really value add here and feed lot for 8 weeks. But it is built for the long term of drought. We don't want to get into feeding full time. Feeding I regard as opportunity, but we need these confinement areas. As I say, it's a big saving on fuel, travelling around people, vehicles, going to the old way of just Ks and Ks and Ks of, 3 times a week. One of the other things too in drought is the help that you have around you. There's so many needs of an animal on the way through as things are getting drier. So a nutritionalist is a really important tool to have in your operation as well. So trail feeding, obviously, it helps in this pastoral area. So what you're trying to do is, confine your sheep so that you're not travelling as much. You're introducing and getting the gut used to your grains. The Department of Primary Industries Feed Calculator is a very important tool with what we use. You can gauge what we can feed the ewes. So it works out your cost, your protein versus energy, the requirements of what the ewes need. So it is an important tool, and then you have a price value of the grain going out. So you can just work out your cost per day. So if you're buying in or if you're producing your grain, very important tool. So this is Enawina Station, which is between Nyngan and Warren out here. And we've barely had 5 inches of rain for the year. But you're remembering we're coming off a very, very big 22. So we had really good ground cover. We've only had 12 mil of rain the other day. And because we've got this ground cover, you can just see this Mitchell grass here and how the shoots have got away just by ground cover, holding up that 15 mil of rain. It's livened up the perennial grasses here, and we can look at all this clover seed here from the good years sitting here. It's also sheep feed as well, obviously, but all this clover seed will explode, and what we're relying on is a March, April rain, and this one gets away then. There's an element of risk with whatever we do. We are a land of extremes a little bit, and it's about trying to take the peaks and valleys out of our operation. That's the balance of not hammering your country too hard. Looking at the different steps of, firstly, trail feeding, then weaning early, then going into confinement and looking after this country. It's what we do and what we love out here, and I just feel that management-wise, we're just really in a good spot.